This day 665, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Very greatly appreciated. They're doing Simon Shin Sariches, see base to Yud. Please excuse me, I have a cold. I'm sorry. It's not COVID. I checked. So, base. We find masculine tchum with the lahalmin abatim time. Sometimes the tchum starts outside, beyond the houses for another reason, not just because of the Ibor we spoke about before. A new city you measure from where it's inhabited. An older city from where its wall is. Basically, Chadash, what's a new city? Which was surrounded with a wall, and then had afterwards became had that house is built inside it. Yeshana is Shiyashva Sofa. Old city is one which was first settled and then surrounded with a wall. Beardvar means to say the quantities, Barbasim Shin Cheser, already learned. Look of the Dira, this is considered enclosed for purpose of habitation. Lo Mikre doesn't count. Rak Imikodim Bono Batim, unless first you built the houses, Varchakav Hikiva Chom, and then afterwards you put around the wall. Zimre Yosha the so-called. This is considered to be first settled and then enclosed. But if you first made the enclosure, and then afterwards you settled therein, it's not called mukavadir because the time you made the enclosure there was no diros there. And now in a city which is surrounded by a wall, but the houses are distant from the wall. If first the housing was set up and then the walls put up, you measure the tchum from the enclosure, even though it's distant from the houses. So the essential vice versa. First the enclosure was made, and then afterwards the houses were put inside. Then is enclosed for the purpose of the habitation. And Moshe with some patim, you put because the enclosure came first, and you you measure from the end of the house as not from the enclosure. Unless there is there are dwellings built into the wall, which makes it by definition the Pir Alocha and the Mishnah Berurah write somebody who was makel in this matter. Oh no, this is from yesterday. Sorry, this is the Mishnah Berurah that says according to Ramah, you give 72 amos past this city, and then you start counting 2,000 amos. Gimel Nimtzaf, he said according to this Kol Mod Tchum Shabbos, anybody measures Tchum Shabbos. He could have Shisa saw that if he acquired his place of Shabbos in the field because on the road, even though he should measure the tchum for himself, from beyond, from outside his arba amos. Because she's the bias, if he acquired his shvisa without Shabbos in the house, he should start from outside the chutzner. Because shvisa b'ir b'krach, he was kind of shvisa in a city or a metropolis or b'kfar, even a village, and don't miss up at their ear. Be sure for the end of the houses of the village. Of the city. The city which has a wall. Hook up, and it was first inhabited, and then the enclosure was built. Money measured from the wall. Within 72 amos. Yesh biases in that house. Money most bias can't start from that house. That's a tour according to the tour, which you just mentioned, the name of the Arukh HaShulchan, the name of Mishabura. Afim a bias, even there's no house. But they'll start measuring from 70 amos outside the city. That's what the basic carp of here. You give a carp up to the city, that's 72 amos. Say don't give it. Plus a Rambam that you don't give a carpaf, Vatur, Rabbi Meir, to pass is like Rabbi Meir, and Mishum Rabbi Meir, is like the more lenient Shita by Erevin, even Erev Tchumen, obviously, because that's what we're talking about now. But I feel Yachim Mokum Rabbi, even to pass like the individual over many other Chachamim, as long as the individual is a legitimate source, of course. We square off the Tchum, that should be explained. We learned in the beginning of the first paragraph of Arabic. How do you make an ibur to a city? That pregnancy. Well, actually, not here. I think it's here, but it's not. Ibur to the ear means how do you make an eruv for the city? The tchum. If this has a zigzagging border, how's it coming in, going out? You start the measure from imaginary line from the last houses. Perish Rashi explains. Shabon the Tchum Abatim, and of the Babatim and the Mushov that we because of measure Tchum, and the houses are not on an equal line. But Zebel Yosim said one extends more than the other. It was surrounded with a wall, in Migdolim with towers, both in which stick out. And there's some towers which protrude more than the other ones. Notice say that's called a pogrom, meaning not literally a dent in the wall, but a curve in the wall. But Mosias Rita connector, you extend the meter out beyond to the outer rim. Meaning you draw the string from the house which is most protrudes the most in the southeast corner. The camera is to the northeast corner. So I don't believe the thing means literally in the corner, but anywhere along the line, even to the north, to the northeast, as if it protrudes there as well, even though it doesn't. And when they start doing the tchum, and so too in the curvatures of the wall. Hey, two writes here. So it comes to measure 2,000 of the tchum im ein kol chom yishar. If now the wall is not completely straight, and the yeshua comes both goes to be meta, the places which still protrude. Rowing kilu chut matu you see it as if there is a string which is extended on its entirety, starting from the most outward protrusion. Measure from that string and beyond. And even if you has a bulge on the east side, a bulge on the right side, well, protrusion, bulge, I think bulge is a better word. Nevertheless, right and left meaning east, south, east and west. Nevertheless, we extend the strings out to the lines out to both of those bulges. There's a tour. I'm going to mention this. And the Shulchan mentioned all. Here's the Rambam. So he wants to say the Rambam goes according to Shita and Perish HaMishnai. Shapir Shkeitzim Armin Yisrael explains how to make an air for the city. But by singles by if a house goes in and a house comes out. The Kyle Shima Mishram Ibo ear is all within the 72 amos of the city. And that is there's no Mishram of Furish Mishnai, Perish HaMishnai. This is what he says in Perish HaMishnai. Inya Ma'arbin, what's the concept of Ma'arbin? Shecharbel Medina. They connect to the Medina, to the district, in brackets he says their ears, the city, Davar Acher, something else come out, Ubar, the pregnancy. Shul, I guess, that's like a pregnancy here. Shul Nosaf, of Chule, which adds Akim, yeah, Babai, excludes some Medina, if there's a house outside the city. Votocham Medina, and it comes in, Abai is Medina, and a house inside the city. Shem Dor Chutzir Abai, Sayotze, we should measure from the outside house, which is bulges out of the city. They'll see Shivim Amos or to add something else to the Akalashono. Lo Pirish Karashi. He explained like Rashi that we make a straight line. The Shivim Amos will become word Ramashulchar. The Allah of Shivim Amos already explained. So he says, "Well, Bemis Levin the Rashi. I'm saying Rashi to it. The my commercial the Motzia Samir Miknega Bayasiotze. Whether it's the Kiddush and saying you go up the house which creates the bulge. Even if the house is not just a bulging house, but 72 amos away, you still extend the line and only starts from after that house. The Kal Chomer, the Bayis, the Kal Chomer that you work by a house which bulges out from the line with other houses. But nearly it says Yesh Nafkamina Gdel there was a big difference. The Hainu is bar, it's going to become clear. So seen we square off the city. We mainly Mablitos Yotzes Mitzad Echad, so the bulges go out on one side. While Pia Blitos, and according to the bulges, you have a tzad Orech Yosem Mikvia Orech. There's going to be a greater length than width, so it's going to be not a square but a rectangle. Klomar Koch Rochel Be'ir, such as where the width of the city is me'am. 100 amos. Orech and length is Gake Me'ama. Length is also 100 amos, so it's a square. El Shapia Blitos, but it go based on the bulges, Nidvasev Asur amos Orech, the 10 extra amos in length. Ba'al Korah Shehosiv Gamal Arochav Asur amos. So then you're going to add to the entire side of 10 amos, Kadesh Tatiam Ruas in order to square off, which in this case would mean a rectangle, not a square. But that doesn't count for where you have the 70 amma extension. It's only a place, an immediate place where there's the ibor, where there's an extra house 72 thirds amos away. And not on other sides. I think not on other sides of the bulge, he means. So it's when you're doing an ibor for the city, you get the bulge, but not on the other sides of the bulge. According to Tour, we had 72 thirds amos automatically. If there's a house that did 72 thirds amos, and another house that did 72 thirds amos from there. He's side is that harbe. They add on this side a lot. A little bit so not on the other sides. In Africa, the other Bedin said Rashi and the Tour. So there's a big difference between Rashi and the Tour, because you only make the imaginary line where it is with an actual blita, an actual bulge, not where there is an ibor. Body of Rambo Kenu. So the Rambam saw the same thing. So the Zesh Shaniru about Mishnah, as we learned the Mishnah, is over there. Osim Osak Kitablam Rats make it like a squared off table, a rectangle. Lava Resha Kai. So when it says that it's not going to the Resha, which is the case of the Ibor, the bulge, and this about Benav, so something different. But something grows there. That's according to the Rambam. The Rashi Torah Resha Kai. No, it's going on the Resha. One second. So let me go back to this. Can I hear the Rashi Torah? The Vadai, Gala Rambam Kenu. The Zesh Shanino, Umisha the Sham, Osim Sakdam Maslava Resha Kai. This about Penafshik, which is the Sham. Oh, so it's nothing to do with the bulge, right? It's not make a tavla move us because you can extend automatically 72 thirds amos. I just thought you said you don't extend automatically 72 thirds amos when there's a bulge. Oh, I learned it wrong. I was only that can be a rectangle, it can be a square. So let's go back. He said in the middle. He says towards the beginning of the sif. Linearly, it seems to be there's a big difference. The Hadi's bar. It's going to become clear. Shows the Imrubas to make the city absolutely square. So let's say you have a bulge on one side. And before it would have been 100 by 100. Without the bulge, but with the bulge, it's 100 by 110. So now you have to add 10 amos all around. So it should be square. And you're going to begin the 2,000 amos from beyond that imaginary square. That we say by a bulge, but when it's the 70 amos of an ibor. Besides Ibor, you don't have the square remains intact. The extension only is on this side. It doesn't cause a extension all around the city. According to Torah, I always add 70 amos to call side on each side. What's kavnu? Like you wrote, nevertheless, there's a preference. If you have a house and then another house, that's going to add a lot on this side, the low and not on the other sides. In other words, the house within 72 thirds down is not a bulge. The bulge allows you to extend on all sides in order to make it square again. But the house only extends on its one side. How 72 thirds amos way only extends on that one side, not on the other sides. You can have Greek lobes and Rashi tour. Zela Rashi tour. There's a very big difference. Uvali got Ram Kehu. The Ram is also the case. That which make a square, it's not going to be a case of an e-board. It's a separate thing where there's a bulge. Show you the Rashi with 1 second. Zero Vatican was Shani of a Mishnah. The Sham. Also, that was Raz Lava Reish. Milsa Bapi Nafsha. So it's a separate thing. According to the Rambam, it's a separate thing. Because you never make a square off because of the bulge. And therefore, squaring off is a separate thing where you square it off when there is actually all around. Oh, that's true though. Here's a bias. Yeah, right. Okay, never mind. Let's go back to this again. It's confusing. Now here's like this. These are Rashi to Valega Ram Kain who? But what according to Rav, certainly this is the case where it's only batim, not a bulge. You don't exceed. They don't make the square larger. Possession that which it says in the Mishnah there. You make a square. It's lava rich. It's not going in the first case over there, which is talking about where there's an ibor. It's a separate statement. Rashi Batur Areshka. According to Rashi and Tur, the Tur it's going on the case where there is a bulge. Sivches is going to see in Sivches. Just wait till we get there. Zion Fiza is born like this is going to be clear to us. A fresh Kododina Benatur La Ramba. Now I was going to explain that for me. The Tur probably is here to me about the chutz layer. All the bulges come out of the houses outside the city. Besides extending the beginning of the the tomb outwards on that side, almost even as a close side, also on all sides. They shem rubah, so it'd be square. Rambam ribu rak ala batim apnimiyim. Now we come to that from here. According to Rambam, it's only on the you don't take the bulge into account to making a square. Okay, the bulge doesn't make a square. Only the houses, which are in the core, make the square. The law both in the chutz, not the ones on the outside. Now both in the chutz does extend the bulge. Elam din ibur the shiva. Elam rak din ibur shirai. The only halacha said what even the Torah agrees by 72 thirds amos that they don't change the size of the box. Just get extra chum on that side. So the Rambam holds the din of the bulge. It's like the halacha of 72 thirds going to Rashi and Tur. That you don't get, don't redraw the square. But Rashi and the Tur hold that where it is a bulge, redraw the square. When it's only an ibor, you don't redraw the square. And he says, "Matthias Amir connected." So tzad go by so many chok shivram according to Rambam the bulge. It's like ibor. I'll ibor here, but it's not. It's like it doesn't the square of the city. I'll call a place. Kim shlo you with the zed over. I don't know what bets me the minutes down. Excuse me. But I should know the nation matter tour should know if Arukh if Arukh. According to as we said, we have to add to the width, just as there was in addition to the length. In order to make a square, this is when the bulge is on one side. Agula are going to make it look like a circle, like a mishuleshes, or a triangle, or shamin tmuna, or some other sort of geographical form. Does Yoshib Mikol Tzad? Then you can add it on all sides. Achate Murubas. To the point that it's square. I mean, they have blitos yellow zavio shovos, but by the bulges, it's going to have equal angles. Lo chayshina masha orech yosim rochav. So he says the bulges create a new geographical form, like a triangle. Then you have to make a square of it. But the bulges is just going to create a rectangle, which is an extended square. Then we just leave it as a rectangle. We don't square it off by adding on the other sides. Yeah. Look, Hashina Masha or Kirios Aruchim. Now, because I'm concerned that the length is going to be more than the width. The Gamza Aviku This is also like a square. Commodities price settlement is going to explain. Dima Pia Plitos Tia Tumanas Igul. But whatever the bulge is going to make a circle. Kagon Shiesh, Harbe Plitos, Akamosa Gostos, there are a lot of twisted and rounded bulges, which states on a year, two sides city, over Shlosh or three. The Akarkashin and Sel Amida with Munas Ruba. One of them make us what's called that? Parallelogram, quadrilateral, whatever it is. In other words, a square rectangle. Inside the taki, yesh the taki b'mruba mamish. What's it? Yeah, because time you have it makes us do it. Not doesn't make a geometrical shape. And we have to add it so it can be a square. If we already have to start fixing it, it should be a perfect square, not a rectangle. Now the Rambam, because Rambam that's saying by the Ibor of Saint Thomas, little Hashinim Bahem with Muras Muruba that we're not concerned with the squares. Because of this Rambam says you don't always need a square. Unless to deal with the Ibor. According to Tur and the Rashi, the Tur, you don't always need a square, rectangle will suffice. As long as it's a four-sided shape. Test Abolim told Alpine Amazul Kuma Air. Arukh HaShulchan, if you want to send, you have a city which is long and narrow, and you need to measure up to 2,000 amos. It's width not the same as its length, so it's square. The lowly but it's not square north, south, east, west. It goes to different points on the compass. It has four corners, shovels, which are equal, 90-degree angles, so to speak. We don't square off. Leave it as is. And my question for 2,000 each of its sides. The name Hashanah Matzichin Meruba that require a square. We learn that from the boundaries of the camp in the desert. Paas. It talks about a corner. Pass is Sivashanos, and a corner called the pass is an equal angle, 90-degree. Zavil Shavos, like I said before, as long as it has equal the perfect angles, 90 degrees, we're not concerned if it's square or if it's rectangular. But if it was round, we make corners. When it's called ear, we look at the entire city as if it's within the square, which extends beyond the city. It's like the case of Gemara, Sukkah Dav Ches, Igula, the Nafi can be go Ribua. So, obviously you benefit in the corners. That which the square is larger in the corners than the circle inside it. The city was a triangle. A pentagon. Said many sides. So for square off, and you measure outside the square. 2,000 amos each side. And since we have to make a square, we make it north, south, east, west. They should take so each side of the city will correspond to one of the sides of the compass. It was wide on one side and narrow on the other side. We look at the entire city is wide. Most of we extend the measurement. You extend as if the entire the face of all of it is the same line, even if it goes like this. Right? So it sags back. If we needed to make a square of us to they didn't make it by the traditional traditions of the compass. They could change and make it according to the squares of the compass. But as long as they didn't change the formal signs of the tchum, they have to go based on whatever initial format they used. An individual can't say, I'm different than them. Lomarian says, I'll make my own square. So going by the direction of the compass, since the sides of the compass are not an impediment, they're not required, so therefore he can't say, you know what, I'm going to make my own square. You only give the tzibur that capacity to make such a square and get the kula on the corners.